coming through if any people join us. But then you've also got the people on the side saying, how many people are joining. So people will join, if they feel like to. Like I said, it's a Sunday stream, so why not? I'm just going to double check seeing if it has.
I'm glad. Well, obviously thank you, Alex. That's amazing. Obviously, it's amazing you helped us out there.
I'm just sending.
It's on. There you go. That's us. We're live now.
I'm just sending this link to Facebook, so anyone can join. I've just got it on silent, so we won't get any echoes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yes. So obviously, welcome to the All Things On Two. Obviously, we've got two special amazing guests. Alex Goddard, who amazingly got this work, honestly.
Certainly.
Big clap for the hands. And Tom Fishwick.
Hello.
So big welcome to anybody that is looking today. It's my first time streaming and making any content in 7 months.
Yeah. Surprisingly, a long-awaited return, and yet how long we've been away from each other.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean,
the talk of COVID should be very, very limited in this, I think.
Yeah, no, but I don't want to talk about COVID-19. Let's not talk about vaccines.
COVID.
I'm tired of COVID, personally. I'm tired
of COVID.
You've got the public chat on the right-hand side, but then there's a host chat, which means it'll just you and me. We can talk while we're doing this, if you'd like.
Yeah. Awesome. So, obviously, welcome. Who's ever watching? That's incredible. I said we're going to obviously talk about a few things, a few Doctor Who style things today. Obviously, a few things got in mind are probably a bit of Big Finish talk, obviously a bit of Doctor Who, what we've done in the past few months, to how Doctor Who has really kept us busy. Obviously, we've had a lot of time to watch it, and then possibly a bit of why we love some Doctors. And then we've got a really cool story about John Sims that all three of us had the personal pleasure of doing.
Of course. We might as well start off with our story then, since it's 1 year since we did meet the guy in person. But obviously, I've just sent a couple of messages just to make sure it has worked. And if anyone is joining right now, listen to the story of how we met John Sims in the nightclub, which is so bizarre in its own way.
It really was.
You never think it happened.
I looked at my memories, like Facebook, yesterday I noticed, I was like, oh, wow, look, Visitors Club, and then a year ago I noticed a John Sim in Manchester in a little club.
Yeah.
No, that's not going to happen.
Little old Charleston being the host of John Sims, and surprisingly enough, I was very intrigued by his taste in music, because you never used to assume that a famous actor like John Sim. I think, though, he was more likely of the old style rock music, and I think that's the sort of thing
I appreciate that. Yeah. As a DJ, because I used to DJ in a club myself, obviously vinyl DJ is awesome, and his taste is personally something I love. But I remember literally thinking, because at the time I was at work when I would have met John Sim, I would have to wake up super early just to get to work again the next morning. Do you remember, Adam?
Yeah, I just remember when you.
Hey, we've got people in the chat. I can just see we've got multi-voice viewer. We've got Who Books, and we've got I've got Rob as well.
Oi,
hey Rob.
Hey guys. I remember literally hearing it, because obviously I was at work at the time in the UK, so I was thinking, well, I can get a train after work, get there really late, go in my work clothes to meet John Sim, or is it really worth it? And then I've got to wake up super early the next morning just to get the early train to work to make sure I get to work on time. So it's basically one big rush just to meet him. I thought, it's John Sim. When am I going to get the chance?
Yeah.
And 2020 was the last time we would get the chance.
January was the last normal month for us, and I think for a lot of us, January just felt that normal month that everything was still going on as normal as it was. And then, of course, the pandemic happened, and then we sometimes look at those memories like that was my ever last nightclub appearance in ever. I can't even remember the last time I even went to a nightclub, even before that.
So I miss nightlife.
I think it was the fact that it was it was like a perfect moment where, piece by piece, you've got the two hooping friends there, and you've got I think it's just our northern connection at the time. We were, I mean, to be honest, before we even moved to Holland, Darren, I think it was just the fact that just three Northerners going to a nightclub in Manchester and looking for the guy who is clutching his appearance as the master.
I look back.
Alex, I just remembered, when we all went in, we all just met each other in Cholton, and then no music was on, so we just thought, oh, maybe he's not here yet.
No,
And then, and then we just got ourselves a drink, and I remembered that all three of us were just sat outside, just catching up. And then like we just heard some music. So oh, he's got to be here. And then we went to the front. He wasn't there, so we thought, oh, maybe he's a bit late. Yeah. And then we just decided to go like in the back, and then we just had our drinks, and we were just kind of thinking, why would John Sim be here? And then all that I remembered was just we decided to go back in, and then when you went. I remember
and then you came to me, Aaron, come here.
I know.
John Sim had his cap on.
You were just in the toilet, and I remember
looking at him, pointing at him. Wait, holy crap!
Me and Alex were just there. I was just looking at this guy like, no, it can't be. Oh my fucking god!
Adam, I'm gonna be honest. Getting John Sim to sign someone in a nightclub was one of the worst things you could possibly do.
Yeah, well, like I said, I think it's not as your usual Doctor Who convention. It's more.
It's not. It wasn't
there just for the music and there to have a good time. You didn't really want to see anything.
It wasn't.
I even had like I don't know. Did any of you had like I don't know DVDs at the time or something, or did you just like, hey, you know what? This was just something that I wanted.
I know it's a club. John Sim wasn't gonna get a table out and do autographs. At the end of the day, he's there for music. He's not there to sign. He's there in LFCC. That's when he does conventions. That's when he's going to sign something. You can ask him, but at the end of the day, he's there to do music, and he wasn't a Who. It was more of a work he's done, which I respect. But I think overall, I just think, as is the last great year, obviously, about a month or so, just dancing basically John Sim DJing in a nightclub to Queen, another Bites the Dust, and then drinking. That was just incredible. That was like, that was amazing. Yeah, it really was amazing stuff. Hey, my love for Doctor Who. So, how are you, Hannah?
Hi, Hannah.
Yes, I'm really happy this is working. Obviously, it's my first time doing a video in a while, and
it was a pain in the ass to set up, though. Thanks to Alex, the god himself.
You know what?
The credit is where it's due. I just think when it comes to YouTube live streaming, like not many people understand the concept of trying to add people in and trying to do the same thing. Like, this is probably the easiest way that people can do live streaming. Of somebody be's the host and they can add guests if they like to, and they can start up their own live streaming service. Like, this is the sort of thing that people get a lot of stick for the fact, how can they do live streaming? And you sometimes have to go on the internet and just try these different streams out, and sometimes it doesn't even work. But this is the one that I've used for 2 live streams. My lockdown live stream I did a couple of months ago, and then my Christmas revolution of the Daleks this year. And
I've seen that. I remember watching
really. So I've had my fair share of ups and downs when it comes to these streams, and sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. So it's just how we can all just try and just practice makes perfect. Just have fun when you do these live streams. Don't ever think when you look in the chat and you think, oh, people are not going to watch it. Then just, I don't know, give it a go. You never know. You never know. John Sims could just appear in that group chat for all of a sudden. You'd be thinking, oh my gosh, he's watching us. He's got an eye on us now.
The thing is, he was obvious. Our faces, as soon as I heard him, just gave it all away. He wasn't even inconspicuous at any point. It was like if Colin Baker walked in his long coat, that's what you would look at. Exactly. I'll be honest though, I can tell YouTube changed by the sense of, is your content child friendly? I'm like, I was never asked this before. What do you mean child friendly? How do I know if it's child friendly or not for some people?
I hate the adverts whenever we try to select any video that we want to watch.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't understand new YouTube systems. I can't even do it on my phone anymore. It's bizarre. Exactly. It really is. But yes, apart from my guys, thank you all for watching. It's amazing.
Hi, Michael.
As you can see from what I've got on screen, if you can show in stream, Aaron, if you could, I've got photos of us John Sims, of us two in that nightclub. Remember that photo?
Guys, please ignore my drunk face. I had lots of that night. So me just that's not a face launch.
That was us. That was us when we were clearly having a good time in the music. I think. What time do we take that photo? I couldn't remember, honestly.
Oh my god, I love that. It was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was a good.
I'll tell you what. If I can
there he
show
was.
it all.
There he is.
Dude, just show the video of us dancing.
Clearest day.
Show the video. Where we all doing the one.
I've got the that's my profile pic for a long time. I got a good smile out of him. I got a real good smile out of him. I've got your one out, Aaron. Your one was like, oh, he's like badass. He's like a badass look. Just look at him. No smile at all. He was like, I'm going to get you.
Yeah, but when you look at him like with pictures with women, he's like, I'm like, yeah, of course you'll be like that.
That's Paul McGann.
He's got that charm. He's got that charm of him.
Where's mine?
Yeah, so I shared something yesterday. I'm going to show you it, Alex, and if you can put it on the screen, hopefully.
Like I said, I'm going to just take this off because that's my own public Facebook, and if people want to see my own public Facebook photos, then be my friend, and I might just show you pictures. But I want to try to find the one photo that we ever found of each other, like together. Like when was our first ever photo of each other? And I'm just going to show it now.
Check Facebook in Messenger, and I've sent you a video, and also show people this video.
Is that the one when we're all at my house and like Alex is kind of like this? Yeah, that's the one.
Day.
Oh my god, I had hair.
Yeah, I had hair.
Where's my hair gone? Oh.
God, that's
I remember that night. We were literally watching all the worst stories: The Gunfighters, Destiny with Dogs, and Time and Ronnie.
That was a fun night.
That was 2 whole years ago, apparently. Then looking at all that, you think, I've not even changed a bit. Yep, my smiling has got improvement. I just bumped up from you, thinking, I can't be the tall one in this. I need to be at the lower one. People will be thinking, is Alex that small? Yeah, let me see.
You live, Rob.
Let me stop showing the.
I'll
find out.
Check Messenger, Alex. Yeah. I sent you the video to that.
Yeah. Let's see.
Show this. We've got to show this off.
Go on.
So, guys, if obviously I'm still moving, guys. So I'm not this messy. It's just because we have no space for anything at the moment. I'm not a messy person.
Okay, I'm hoping that YouTube doesn't kick us off for the fact that we're going to get music in this. So let's see if I can. Let's bring up the.
So fill up your glasses.
Are we ready? Are we ready to click play?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no!
Oh god! Guys, John.
I was looking at my phone. I was looking at my phone constantly. Oh no!
I was filming it on my phone there.
Oh. Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh my. Alex, stop showing him off. It's horrible.
Oh my god, it was so fun. I love that. I remember just asking to buy John Sims a drink, and that was something I'm going to take in my life. I offered to buy John Sims a drink.
Did he accept? I can't remember.
He had 3 drinks the entire night. He's not going to He's getting 3 drinks the entire night.
Were we seeing John Sims' face in it? Was he actually dancing when we were doing this? I'm not sure.
Yeah, he wasn't.
He was probably going like.
I swear at one point it was doing
Oh, I swear, I actually saw him tapping on the table as well. No word of a lie.
I was like, blah, 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 blah. I don't know the words to back in the I don't know the words to this song. I was just like saying, oh, don't worry, I'll just follow what people say in the background. No worries.
Oh my god, that picture you did of his face when we did. Johnson made that face. Oh my god, what did that picture?
In the day where I think we got one where Johnson was looking too cheesy enough for the camera. Like I think it was on maybe on our group chat, I believe.
Rob McClurry, I have flirted with a companion.
I tell you what, just because this was not a proper nightclub entirely, this was literally the bar and the restaurant made into a nightclub. So you couldn't jump on tables, you couldn't smash anything up. You had to be respectful. So
I used to work in a nightclub where it was the size of this,
but you couldn't really smash any tables because everyone was in there. And if I was like jumping up and down like a madman, all drunk and all that, I would get kicked out. So, oh God, sorry. I regret taking that video in the first place. I really do.
Oh God, what are we doing?
I did a masturbation with my hair. Excuse me, Hannah. What are you trying to say? I don't know. How do I do a Matt Smith? But...
What are you talking about, Hannah?
All right, guys. We don't need to see this video no more. We've seen enough awkward drunk us. No one needs to see any more drunk stuff.
That was it.
Yes, Hannah, I flirted with Fraser Himes when I met him. I just didn't stop flirting with him.
Oh, gosh. Right.
So, lead on subject. Apparently, flirting with companions is a thing. Who have you flirted with, Doctor Who? I'm joking. That's not a subject.
Everyone enjoying that video there. Just drink it all in, because we were, even though you didn't see Johnson's face, we were just thinking, right, Johnson's on the other side of this. Like, we've just got to.
I think
it is because
I didn't want to be a fan that was weird at looking, so I said just enjoy the night. At the end of the day, he's there. Just enjoy the music, and he had a great taste. So obviously, oh wow, Hannah, you're funny. You're funny. You see what Hannah's saying.
When he went bald in time of the fuck fake, Hannah.
It's not child friendly, Adam. God, I'm joking. So, I don't know if you obviously, I've had a few obviously talking points going on today. It was great, obviously, with John Sim. Overall, I could say finishing it off. I would have to do it again.
Definitely.
I'm going to just show you the cheesiest face that I got of John Sims on camera, and this was just.
Yes. Yeah.
No, that's not it. That's the wrong one. Sorry.
Is it a naughty picture, Alex?
Open tabs on mine.
Oh, don't. Oh, yeah.
I think this one's cheesy enough.
Oh, God, I thought that. We've made so many memes with that picture.
We did. When Big Finish had a discount.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly.
When there's a day like
I make this photo even more. Like, imagine if we were like taking photos of people taking photos of John Sims. We'll think, let's get a cheesy grin of him. And I think we got one of those best ones there.
I mean, thank Adam for that perfect moment. That was such a perfect shot moment to take it.
Yeah. I think
Adam is the reason we got left there.
Or something like that. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that was your one, Adam. I think I got a different one. I think. Yeah. This is the one. Oh, this one's even. You might want to decide this one. This one actually might be a decider. Share my audio with this one. How about this one? Now, pardon the person taking the photo of John Sims' close-up view. That's probably where his eyes are on the camera, his eyes are on you, and he's having that cheeky little smile like, it must be dinner time.
Dinner time. But yeah, I think such a great picture. I love that picture.
Yeah, it's good.
Really did. So really, apart from that, it was I would have a few things to talk about today, obviously, regarding now, because obviously, I think I'm going to be honest, guys. I think Big Finish has kept my world of fresh new Doctor Who, has kept me alive for Doctor Who over the past, especially couple of years or so. What do you say? Would you agree with that or not?
Yeah, Big Finish has really helped. You know what? For me, it's where the show is at the moment, though. But Big Finish has just been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. What about you, Alex? What have you experienced with Big Finish? No, you haven't obviously delved into a lot of it, but what have you delved into?
Well, I've been listening to a lot of the Time Lord Victorious has been going on quite recently, and I've recently got purchases of 2 Paul McGann stories. I believe it was called Enemy of the Daleks, and there was another one which I think was something Total Destruction, I believe, and I've not got
Totally in the mood of destruction.
That one there, and there was another one with Tom Baker. It was called Genetics of the Daleks. This was all
I love that story. So it was prequel to the actual rider experience that was meant to be out.
I mean, even still, I think those are the ones that I've recently got into. I've been reading a couple of the books lately. I think some of them are quite fantastic still.
So All Flesh is Grass.
I understand the Time Lord Victorious concept. Like, even if you haven't got the access to, I don't know, the VR games, for instance, or the escape rooms, like they've tried to make those accessible to many people. But if it's not something for you, as in like a whole story in concept, that if it's on many different platforms, if it means to collect you to take all the books and all the audios, that's fine. But I think if the whole fandom have just got a general concept of what the story is and how they can access it, then I think everyone will be on board with it. If you're not a books person and if you're not a Big Finish person, you may struggle. But I will say though,
I think what I read was that Big Finish is accessible to lots of people. Obviously, Time Lord Victorious in the sense of you don't need to experience everything. The only reason I've got all the figures, the audios, the books, is because I'm a bit of a completionist. Now, and I want the full story, but you can experience these stories without knowing the real context. It's just extra stories.
Yeah.
I think, obviously, Genetics for Dogs isn't needed, but it's a prequel, and it sets up the actual ride that they were doing.
Yeah.
But apart from that...
from that story in general, like a lot of people, when they try and listen to that, you're probably thinking, is that Tom Baker doing the voice, or is that somebody else trying to take over from doing that voice? Obviously, it's Tom Baker, because he's still doing
I love Tom Baker.
And how you get to hear that his voice changes and stuff that you don't recognize it like Tom Baker, but it's like a toned down Tom Baker.
I find a lot of moments Tom Baker's voice really is very distinctive in the sense of Colin Baker's clearly getting much older. So when he has to listen to his stories, his newer stories, you can see his voice gets a lot more different. Davison has been like that for a while, but Tom is still the same. Tom gets angry. It's still like the TV show.
I feel like Peter Davison's voice has changed because ever since he's gotten older, he sounds a bit like this. But you know, when he was younger, he talked like this, sounded like he was out of breath quite a bit.
When did he get into Big Finish? So we've got a few questions. Obviously, when did he get into Big Finish? I got into 2016. So I remember picking up spare parts on eBay a few years ago. And this was before it was really rare. And I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And listened to it. And I didn't touch it again for years. And I've gone back to it. And I think the past 3 years, I've been giving all my money to Big Finish, to Nicholas Briggs, to keep from all his stories.
Well,
so, what about you guys?
Your question, who's would we ever go into a nightclub with Matt Smith or Jodie Whittaker? That's the question.
Jodie Whittaker, yes.
Music, I would probably think so.
Yeah.
If I just think for the fact Matt Smith would love the fact that he'll be the DJ and he'll be doing the music. I think if a doctor had to do it, I think Matt Smith is the sort of sounding doctor who would be in a nightclub and he will get with everybody. As in, he'll get with the ladies and he'll get with the men, if you know what I mean. It will just sound, it'll just go ballistics with everyone, I think. I think maybe for David Tennant, you'll be thinking, David Tennant's Scottish, right? I'm not sure if this is going to be a good idea if he ever did a gig, like a nightclub gig. I don't think it will suit him.
So, guys, Rob wants me to reveal a really interesting fact to you guys. And now, I don't know if anyone you know this.
Hey, Harry,
but I'm going to read this to you. So Rob personally messaged me. So who's ever watching, you may be shocked, you may not.
I think I know what you're going to say, Aaron.
So Mark Platt stated that in the Fact and Longbarrow that the Seventh Doctor asked Leela to name her half Gallifreyan and half human child with an Android, with Aldred after himself, so that he would become the other, who himself became the Doctor. Is a paradox loop. So basically, Leela is the Doctor's mother.
Yeah.
Is that a big thing? Rob wants that to be stated.
I don't know. It's just, is it actually the Doctor though? It's just someone else that the Doctor just asked him to call himself.
It's the Doctor. It is the Doctor. Mark Platt state. The bad guys are here. We're atrocious, guys. That's a little inside joke.
Oh, hi, Harry.
Sorry, I know you're a bit lost in that, Alex, but back from another called Longbarrow, and the Doctor is a Time Lord God the other.
Okay.
Leela is the Doctor's mother because of a paradox.
Okay, I can understand that. I think with a lot of shows, you get to think that, wait, hang on, Leela can't be the Doctor's mother because of this, this, and this. You get other stuff like, I don't know, like the Star Wars trilogy is, hard to get a hold of. Like, even, they're even doing something similar with the Time Lord Victorious. Like, they're doing something with, like, I don't know, like the High of the Republic or something, like the High Council, something like that that's similar to Star Wars, but it's still in the same concept where they're releasing a lot more. I mean, Mandalorian is going strongly, like, like knowing how people are into that sort of thing, then like I said,
The Mandalorian is amazing. The Mandalorian is better than
it's going through the roof right now, and I think what I think this sort of lockdown period is giving a lot of companies and a lot of other shows to be more creative, not in doing the movie sort of style, but to do more things either audio wise or animation wise.
Yeah,
that's why I think lockdown. I think from last year, people got so creative by doing all these other gem stories. Like, I think for me, from the April to May, we had all those stories. Remember all those different writers that with Ross T. Davis, and they were sharing all those other stories from like the Farewell of Sarah Jane and stuff with Pompeii, for instance, and the other things that came afterwards. You got a good sense that there's a little bit more truth to what happened to these people after those stories took place, or even when the Doctor got involved for those stories. I mean, even when Pompeii, when the Doctor saved them from Pompeii, from the fire of Pompeii, they even told a little bit of a story afterwards, like what happened with the influence of the Doctor. Did they move? Did they change? Did they survive? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I was always blown away by those little stories. Those little stories on Doctor Who Lockdown. There's even a YouTube channel full of all of it. I remember Emily Cook did all of those live streams where
Emily Cook's fantastic.
She was doing all those watches.
Honestly,
on Twitter.
She's literally doing Big Finish now. She's literally doing a few stories. I like a lot of these lockdowns. Did any of you guys pick up the 13th Doctor one? Pick up this book?
Yeah, I got that from my cousin. Got me that for Christmas.
I pre-ordered it.
I don't know where mine is at the moment, but
I've got all of the adventures on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel called Doctor Who Lockdown. It's literally all of the videos, but in story form. So you can even watch it as like somebody's telling you the story itself, like a bedtime story sort of thing.
Yeah, thing is, it's a good book.
Yeah.
It's basically written stories, and I think I like the lockdown stories. They're very interesting. I love how we had so much new content, obviously expressive content over the lockdown period. And you got to think, if it wasn't for lockdown, would we have these stories? Yeah, that's a question. But obviously Hannah's bought today the second Doctor Sonic. Awesome, I've got one myself. It's a great Sonic, and I've got Sonic Lance. Awesome. So obviously going forward with that then. What you said about Star Wars, Alex, I do not want to discuss Star Wars in this, or I'm going to a big tangent about Secret Trilogy.
Okay.
I'm doing that. I mean, if Rob's still watching, he'll know how we feel about it.
I mean, he just said to me, avoid the High Republic at all costs. Just stick with the films, Mandalorian and the Clone Wars. Like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Some people do like that High Republic shit. Like, it's, it's...
When
like,
I talk about the sequel trilogy, I'll just do... No.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Is it bad that I've not watched any of the Mandalorian yet?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm even guilty of that.
I said this in my other in my live stream last night that I haven't seen any of the Mandalorian, but I think I did see the first episode, but it was a while ago and I can't remember what happened.
The Mandalorian is a basic love child for Clone Wars. He has a lot of returning characters from the Clone Wars to modern day to bring him back to his canon, and I think it's really more. Beautiful. So I'm speaking but Dutch now. Beautiful in a lot of ways. I can't help it.
Dutch there. Go on.
Nay. I'm trying to. So basically, I'm trying to speak Dutch more every day, and I'm in an English audience speaking more. Mooi means beautiful. So yeah, I'm gonna say obviously if I say in parents, mother, vader is mother and dad. Yeah. But apart from that, come back from Dutch stuff, just watch Mandalorian because it's generally great Star Wars, but back to Doctor Who because I feel like we've kind of reverted away from Doctor Who into Star Wars now.
Doctor Who live stream.
I still think the concept still remains the same. If it means of twining up the timelines a bit, then Star Wars is a bit like that. Because I think some people know a strong timeline of Doctor Who and Star Wars in general, but sometimes in other episodes, it all gets twisted about. And I know Doctor Who like wibbly wobbly time rewinding stuff. We all know that, but even Star Wars is a bit like that. Like it's all like you watch the first like episodes 4 to 6 in the films, and then you've got the prequels, and then you've got the other stuff even after episode 6 and stuff like that. So it's like, hang on, so you go in there, then you're going backwards, and then you go again. So
quick question for you guys. Obviously, some of us only was getting the complete season 24 and 8. Now, regarding the collection, what do we think of the collection box sets, especially season 24 and season 8? What would be you, Alex? You've not spoken much about it.
Well,
I love them.
Season 8 already got pre-ordered. Season 24, though, it's a no-go for me. I'm sorry, but I'm going to.
Season 24 is underrated.
I pre-ordered season.
Don't make me say these because I'm gonna hurt Adam. I'm gonna hurt Adam by saying this.
The thing is with season
Paradise Towers for me is just.
Paradise Towers. All right. The best way to talk Paradise Towers, it's portrayed horribly, but it's got a great story. It's got a fallen building. It's got characters. It's got the weak, and you got to fight for survival. And you've got the cleaners. It's got cheesy ass moments, and it doesn't work. But the story's there. I think it's overall. It's just underrated.
The thing is with me with season 24,
I might be on my birthday.
I have a soft spot for season 24 though, even though it's the weakest out of all of classic Who. But I think the only story, as you know, because we did a video on it, was Time in Irani. I hate that story, but the rest I actually don't mind.
Yeah, I think I enjoy Time Irani. It's not good, but I'll watch it. Paradise Towers, as I just said, Alex, it's got a good idea. Dalton Bannerman, I recently watched my partner because we're watching Classic Who together, an episode every now and again, and she's really getting better. And it's such an enjoyable story. It's so little, it's just so random. It's cheesy fun.
Good cheesy.
I enjoy it. Dragonfire. But overall, they're not amazing stories. I'm never going to say it's one of the best seasons because it really isn't. But they're just enjoyable stories, so I can kick back and relax to. That's the best way I can say it.
For you guys of season 8, because I think the thing is I'm looking forward to for season 8 is the fact, that's all sit down on the sofa where you get, all of the cast members talking about these episodes. Like, I really want to see more about, the beginning of Terror of the Audience, of how Joe Grant got into the whole role, and also the introduction of the Master a bit more. Only because I just think I want to hear it from the cast members themselves more than it's the fact of the director and the producer saying we're going to have a new Master, we're going to have a new companion. I just think for me, Terror of the Audience is the best out of that season, only because it starts off incredibly well and it gets on to a good start, and also I just think it's the fact that we always like the sort of chemistry between the Doctor and the Master, and I sort of compare it to like the Sherlock Holmes and the Moriarty sort of thing. Like, I think they throw back of each other. Like, you need somebody more smarter or even more intelligent than Sherlock Holmes, and that's exactly what it reminds me of like when the Brigadier and the Doctor, it's like the Dr. Watson's, like Sherlock Holmes is, and Dr. Watson's a Brigadier, for instance. It has all.
I'm going to be honest. I liked Terror of the Autons. It's a great story, but I think Mind V was better. I think that's one of the best stories of all time. Mind V was I think it was fantastic, personally.
I find it interesting that Sacha Dhawan's is going to be behind the sofa in the season 8, but I mean, I know that he's the Master though, but I mean, he wasn't actually around to be, to be part of Pertwee's Heroes.
I learned that I never knew. John Barron was a fan of John Pertwee growing up, and I never knew that. I didn't know that. I was listening to a Big Finish, A Green Life, Obviously the Joe Grant story, and basically he mentions obviously he watched it and he loves the Third Doctor, and he loved it. I just didn't know. I thought Torchwood was like a new thing for him. Doctor Who was a new thing, and then now Dermot actually loved Doctor Who. It's just always got me a bit. Oh wow, I'm shocked by it.
You know, I wish that we were in Cardiff.
I'm so sorry I didn't join you. I mean, I feel such a shame just for the fact, you know, when lockdown stopped for a bit and when we had that summer period. I believe you went in that summer period, right? Right. Work Academy kept in the summertime for quite a long time because they needed as many bodies as they could possibly get. When I meant bodies, I meant more bodies to work, not as in bodies to bury, if you know what I mean. Just right. So I was kind of stuck at work for the fact that the only sort of days off I could possibly manage was like bank holiday Monday in the really hot summer.
We work in the worst industry of all time. I hope you know that.
Yeah, I mean, we had a really hot summer apparently, and I think every day for me was like, right, I'll work, and I'll try and take Mondays off because Mondays off are my favorite days, to be honest. I just think Mondays as a whole, I think days of the week, Mondays, I really want to get in the bin. I want to change Mondays to something else. Like, if people can come up with a new name for Mondays, then please do, because I don't know, maybe to extend Sunday to like, I don't know, Sunday becomes tomorrow being Fun Day. I don't know, just something that's not Monday.
Monday, gonna be honest though, for yourself, it's like I used to work in your industry and I hated it. You work in the worst industry because you get little pay. You work more hours and more social hours, and they can call you in, and it's just
even on your days off.
I can't. I'd only go to that job at the moment if I really needed to.
Yeah.
Back to the obviously Blu-ray collection. Obviously, point was saying. So what's our favorite release? Obviously, you've had season. Let's go in the order of stories. So you've had season 8 that's about to come out. You've had season 10, season 12, season 14, 19 and 23 and 24 and 26. I mean, and 18. What's the favorite release so far, or favorite set?
Right there. I think starting off with me, I think the only one I'd have to say that I enjoy most of all is the last season. I think for me personally, especially because last season was, I think, is a gem because I think it came out with that amazing trailer of Sophie Aldred, which I thought brilliant television through that, like the imagery of all that, and also she released a new book which I think was on the back end of that release, which I thought in my eyes that was like Battlefield, the end of the Brigadier. Like
Battlefield is a good story.
The last ever ghost story that you could probably imagine in Ghostlight, which I find is criminally underrated, even if people don't mind to hate it. I find it's one that you hate to love it, or it's the opposite way around. And then Curse of Fenric is the horror and the darkest aspects. And I just think throwback to the survival episode as well. I think immediately when you get the Doctor staring at the master and you see that grimace smile of the Doctor, like, I'm not happy with you. Also, just for the fact, I just love the fact that it has one of my favorite bloopers of all time. It's Sylvester McCoy when he's doing the Tiger People moment. Saying can everyone stay still? Like, he's swearing on top.
Oh, that's such a good blooper. To be honest, season 26 is a gem. It's one of the best seasons of all time. The fact that they ended the show when it was getting high. I think here's an opinion that everybody agrees with. Tell me if you guys disagree, because obviously I'm happy with agreements. Ghostlight is one of my favorite stories of all time.
It's a good one.
It's such a clever story. The storytelling, the characters in the story, it's confusing, but it's brilliant. It's like
my favorite season is probably season 14. I think it's just got some good ones, and then I absolutely love Talons of Wing Chime, mainly because I love Jago and Lightfoot now.
Still never seen it all the way through.
Oh, how dare you, Aaron? And I think what my favourite part on that set is probably the tribute of Elizabeth Sladen. And I just think, oh, God, they must have took their heart and soul in making that tribute. And I just feel so sorry for Tom when he starts getting upset. I just want to hug him.
Yeah, it's so emotional. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah, I think I put season 12 is always a hard one to buy at once, but I do love season 12. So obviously we spoke about the collection.
Season 14. Did I say season 12? Season 14.
Have you guys discussed rumours of Jodie leaving? I don't really want to discuss rumours if it's just rumours, but the idea of Jodie leaving, do you mind, or are you a bit happy about it, or what?
Well, let's just say that it was coming, because I think this was like, it's like a trial. So if, say, 2 seasons with Jodie Whittaker hasn't reached the expectation of the fans, a change is kind of needed. And let's just it's like giving, I don't know, like some person in the job, say, I'll give you like a month for you to improve. And for Chris Chibnall as the, showrunner, to say, right, Jodie, I'll give you like 2 seasons, see how you get on. And if people aren't really working it, then you can always move on to something else. I will bring in somebody else. Like I said, I think it's more like this is a trial sort of era for Jodie. And yet, even still, I wanted the last season for her to be brilliant. But then you've got these other new characters being brought in. And I think it's the shame that I like characters when they are with longevity with the Doctor. Say, for instance, that you've got Tegan, like she stayed with the 5th Doctor all the way to like the last 2nd episode of the season. And when you think about when you bring somebody else onto the picture, it's like you don't really want to keep anyone on board. You want to get fresh new companions and fresh new Doctor. You don't want a recurring companion being on with another Doctor. I just think for me, you just see a separation of character development. And I think when you have that, when you have Yaz going over with Jodie and with John Bishop being announced as the new companion, you get a sense that Yaz may have a completely different character development, and you may even want this to carry on for another season to see if it improves. And yet, even though when Jodie's leaving, you've got to think that there's got to be something dramatic, like a dramatic finish happening to Yaz soon. Or to the fact that when John Bishop has his first season, is he going to be recurring afterwards, Jodie Whittaker? So it makes you kind of wonder, is it too early, or
could be in
the Doctor Who to cancel off Brian Graham? Obviously, because we've got other roles in 2021. But let's just say that, was it a bad idea to not take away Yaz and put a fresh new companion?
Here's the thing. It's not been confirmed she's leaving.
No, of course. But it's rumours.
I personally think Chibnall should leave. Without going too much into annoyance, Chibnall is a problem. I think Chibnall is the main problem with what's happening.
I personally think, because, most of the classic Doctors and all apart from Eccleston, they've mostly done 3 years each Doctor. So, and this is Jodie's 3rd series, so it's just kind of makes sense though if she does leave in the end of the series.
I think so. I personally feel Jodie hasn't really had a chance to really shine. She's had good moments, but the way Chibnall's written her has just been very much she's not at a moment where she says, wow, that was incredible. So for example, if we go to new series, Capaldi was arguing speech, that was incredible. That speech really got you. But Jodie hasn't had a scene where she makes me say, oh my god, that is the Doctor. But you see moments, then we go. And then I'm like, I just want her to shine. I want her to really glow and be amazing as a Doctor. I really want her. I want it to stay another 2 seasons, if anything. But I don't think
though that if Jodie really wants to do well and succeed, I'd say to Chris Chibnall that you're not happy with the scripts, and if you're not happy with this, then fight against Chris Chibnall if you need to, even if it's going to be like
no one will do that, would they?
People say that it's nice to work with you and stuff like that. I think if it doesn't work for you, like remember when Tom was Doctor Who, if he didn't like the script or anything, he'd complain. Same with Patrick Troughton. A lot of these other doctors think that when they see the script and they think, okay, that will work. But if you're not happy as the Doctor, like if you've got a strong character, if you've got a strong personality as the Doctor, and you think that that's not good enough for you as your Doctor to be portrayed in the series, then fight it and say, I want this to be changed. I want my character to say this.
Troughton did that, but
Troughton, he was complaining for the fact that all these scripts was like, I don't want these. I don't want to do this. Same with Tom Baker. He was upset with the scripts as well at our time. So I think, you may think like, oh, Tom may say, well, I could say this if you like. Oh, I could do this if you like. But then, like Philip Hinchcliffe, for instance, was like, Tom, we'll let you do what you like because you are the Doctor and you are the show. But remember when they had an argument with John Avon Turner, when John Avon Turner was saying to Tom Baker, you want to do this, you want to do this, we should have 4 companions with you. And then Tom Baker was like, look, I don't really need an assistant, I can only do Doctor Who by myself.
I can do this on my own.
If we're going to compare to Tom Baker practically won Doctor Who when he was a Doctor. I don't think it worked. But if we're going towards the whole Jodie problem, I think, obviously, I'm saying leave it last bit after this overall, but I think Jodie needs another couple of seasons, 3 of the most, just to really shine. I just don't want her to be the Doctor that everyone, because we can't dodge around the question. She does have a lot of hate. She has more people talking about him in a bad way.
Yeah,
but I don't think it's her fault. It
No,
really isn't.
no, I don't blame
No.
Jodie at all for it. It's not her fault.
You can do.
Yeah, it's not her fault at all.
The best she's dealt with in terms of script wise and writing wise, but I think it's more for the fact that every season they try and change her up just to be like, I don't know, maybe a bit more down to earth. Like, I think the Doctor can be down to earth when she needs to be, but I'm just sick and tired of the fact that she's like, the Doctor's trying to get down with the kids. Like, I know that when Capaldi was trying to get down with the kids, that word, because he tended to, as a joke, Jodie's trying to force it down, like she's going to be down with the kids and trying to say the words fam.
I'm sorry, fam is probably, just fam makes me cringe.
I mean,
but
fam, yeah.
Without going into too much like annoyance with this now.
Feel like, wait, are we being treated like kids here? Like this?
I think
this is a show. Is it not a family kids show? Sure thing.
I think also with the problem with Jodie's Doctor, she's overusing the Sonic way too much, and the Doctor's supposed to be really, really smart. I don't like back in the classic era, the Sonic was hardly used. It was only used at good moments, but now it's just like she just has to scan it for anything. The Doctor's smart enough.
The Doctor's son screwdriver got destroyed by a pterodactyl in the Visitation, and even the Doctor was saying, I just felt like just sort of good friend of mine, and all he had to deal with was a piece of celery on his jacket. That's what he had to deal with.
Honestly, me and Rob have had this conversation. If you look at Pertwee, especially with mutants, where he's stuck in the doorway, he used his mind and he literally to open the door, not just point the Sonic and then the job's done. So really, yeah, I'm going to miss enough. Gun regarding that, I get what was doing, but there's still a lot of things we need to learn. Obviously, regarding that, we have had a few things going on with chat since. So if we have a quick look now,
series 14, and we should have something about 40 minutes episodes or 30 something stories. I think because. Maybe it's the fact, obviously, COVID, we've now been reduced to 8 episodes now, just for this series 13. Do you think series 14 should change back up to the next sort of 12 format? Do you think 10 episodes is not enough? Or do you think that just because of this COVID time, 8 episodes is fine because of the regulations that they've got to go through?
Honestly, if you look, I know you guys haven't seen Mandalorian, but if you look at Mandalorian, that's 30 minutes just past out an episode, 8 episodes, and that's fantastic.
Yeah.
You don't need long episodes, and plus it takes away all the filler, so you can have the continuous story without an episode that says, well, that's just a bit filler. It's basically, I think 10 episodes involve me. If you're going to make it longer, you're going to give it more, you're going to give the story more space to breathe, you're going to make it more memorable, you're going to have less filler. 10 episodes do it. At the end of the day, if it's going to make it a stronger season, let's go.
One out really. When I watched series 12, Nicholas Tesla's Night Terror, I think that was as good as it was. I still thought to myself, Doctor Who are getting into this sort of concept of trying to include a historical episode once in a while, but add an alien threat to it. Like, I would like Doctor Who just for once to just do a historical episode with no added alien threat. Remember the Rosa episode? Remember that dude that with the traveling back in time?
I swear it was Medley Monk at one point.
Either was the meddling monk or it was like Glasgow. I hated it. Like, he didn't need to be there. Like, I get it, the fact that it's history and you should follow history of what it could cost. But I just think we're getting into this. We're getting into the system of doing historical with an added
pseudo historicals.
Make it just sort of like, oh, this is sort of cool, I guess. But what
but if you look at the Visitation,
why not just have a historical that is like nothing alien-like, but we still get to learn a little bit more danger. Like, history is that important. That's why I think for me, one of the biggest successfuls of the historical is The Empty Child. I mean, That has just a gas mag zombie, but the only alien part is the nanogy. And that makes perfect sense. It's not like it's going to throw alien spaceships at your face. Well, Captain Hawk.
All right.
But
okay.
The only sort of good
What about the visitation?
Historical, it's actually one of the ones that I think doesn't add too much alien stuff in your face. Like, did William Hartnell do that to you? William Hartnell just said, "Oh, this is the Roman Empire here," and Ian and Bob were eating grapes willy-nilly and all that. So I think those are the stories that I think I kind of miss, because those are the ones that there was no alien threat there, but you got to learn something a bit different. So I thought, pick a history where no one knows about it, and then it may come across as something that maybe, I don't know, may cause to the damage of history, I guess. Like, whoever.
I was going to say, Alex,
aliens.
What about regarding the visitation? That is a pseudo-historical. That deals with the Black Death, but that brings in a villain that is from an alien, but that does it really well.
Do you think
that works better because of the villain?
Do you think? Do you think?
What do you think about the Witchfinders, though? That's one I don't think should work with an alien threat. What do you mean? Like, I think what I wanted of the Witchfinders, there was a story called The Crucible that I did in GCSE English years ago. And it was about the whole thing about witchcraft and the whole thing about Salem is the city of death. Like, I wanted they to do something not to do with, like, I don't know, like, Witchfinders that were like mud creatures, I guess. You didn't want that. I wanted something that was more dead, like down to the book, down to, the history writing itself, like more to the fact of, oh, these mud creatures are trying to turn people into witches and stuff like that. I just didn't need all that.
Alex, when you were just talking about Rosa earlier, do you think the villain in that, do you think that it was kind of a bit of a rip off from the meddling monk? Because he was trying to change time.
Because of just for the fact that he was just there just to cause trouble. It's like a gangster in a sort of cinematic universe where it doesn't need to be there. You don't have gangsters in Star Wars. It's something that doesn't need to be there. I mean, you could have characters who may be a gangster, fair enough. But if you've got a gangster who belongs in an alleyway in a superhero villain or a superhero movie, that works.
That's in Star Wars. That's what Jabba the Hutt's for. He's basically the biggest gangster in Star Wars.
The people could comment down below if they disagree with that.
Jabba the Hutt is a gangster in Star Wars. He's like, he's got the Hutts.
So what big finishes have you been listening to? I know, Alex, you don't listen to it as much though, but
the one big finish one I'd say for the one I've been listening to the most, it was one called, well, I think we all know this one. My favorite one, I still tend to watch and listen to this day, is "We Are the Daleks." We all know that's a crowd pleaser.
That's really good. Yeah, that's a really good story.
I just like for the fact that a video game in it, and that's making like, the video game is actually a real video game, if you know what I mean.
I just love Big Finish, even like Mel stories. I just love Mel and Big Finish. She's such an interesting. Like, they use her quirks and her strengths in the story on like season 24, and like there's a lot of good stuff. Have you heard Red yet, Alex?
Yes, it's very good.
Red is dark, but I love it.
What do you think of Masterful?
Masterful. Have you heard it yet, Alex?
No, I haven't. I need to get.
No spoilers, just because of Alex.
To where you can pre-order it. Send me those now.
So, Masterful, I think the 3-hour story, honestly, it's a very good story. It takes time and it uses everyone to an existent sense. Obviously, Delgado should have been in a lot more, but no, I mean, even in it at all. But he has his own stories. So that's not the issue. All I can say is, because obviously anyone who's not heard it, Alex hasn't heard it. I'm not going to go too deep and spoil it.
I've heard it.
It's generally a great celebration of the Master.
Yeah, it really is. I think the only thing I was a little bit disappointed with that. Roger Delgado's Master, isn't it? And I feel like he should have been because it was the anniversary because he was the first Master to appear on TV.
Yeah,
and I just feel like, I mean, I know we got that. I don't know if because me and Darren, we got the limited edition of it though. I don't know if you got it in the standard one, but you also get an audio book with the Third Doctor. And it's read by John Coleshaw.
It's a good one. Yeah, it's a good story. I really enjoy it. Set between Sarah Jane and the show.
If I've got to be completely honest, I think the one thing I'm going into that story with is Michelle Gomez and John Sim going to start saying sexual innuendos to each other like they did in World Enough for Time in the Dr.
They don't. They don't. They don't at all. Like, the thing I love is that's Moffat's writing. This is such better writing for the masters. Obviously, back to a question you asked regarding Big Finish to listen to. I listened to a certain story that's famous in the Big Finish world called Necromantia. Now, I've heard a lot about this story. I've never actually heard it yet. So I decided to listen to it now. Do we know anything about this story, Necromantia?
I haven't heard it.
A lot of other.
Do you know much about it?
The chat thinking, why have you watched? Why have you listened to this?
It's considered one of the worst ones because I'm going to mention a few scenes.
Go ahead.
And it's one of the darker Big Finish stories. It's like a Caves Run design, but darker. And all I can say is this story. It's basically about these witches, and then the Doctor gets involved with Erin Perry. Now, obviously, some people may not know who Erin is. She's an Egyptian
I've got
queen.
that one on my account. I just remembered. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not heard it, but I've got it on my account.
All I want to say is, it's just a dark, messed up story that does things for the sake of doing it.
Doesn't Perry? Isn't Perry like naked in the bath or something?
Yes. Yeah, she basically is. All right, to end the conversation before we lose.
Adam is saying something that shouldn't be said on YouTube, so we might have to monetize the video if we have to, because the stuff is inappropriate. So, kids, if you're watching this, please don't look up Perry.
This is not for kids.
It's Doctor's head being ripped off and eaten. That's the cliffhanger, guys. And there's also a scene with Erin that is really out of touch for Doctor Who. Now, if Rob is watching this, you know what I'm saying, but it's out of touch. Now, to end the conversation, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you want to listen to it, you listen to it. All power to you.
Dark fantasy if you are going to listen to it, so enter at your own risk.
So, obviously, keep on to a bit of touch Big Finish before we move on to the next subject, obviously. What do we think about Big Finish? Obviously, get rid of the main range and adding the audiobook range. So that's download only 6 5-hour audiobooks. What do we think to this?
I'm a little bit disappointed with it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because I love the main range, and I feel like what Nick Briggs has just done is just like, because we're not like getting individual artwork now, and I feel like they might lose a bit of the sort of like the people who want to buy Big Finish. I think they might be losing that sort of people, because if you want to, I mean, don't get me wrong, the stories are still good though, but I don't feel like Big Finish is the same as how it used to be back in the early 2000s.
It's adding new ranges. That's why it's had all these new changes.
Yeah.
Obviously, Alex, I know you've not massively versed.
Yeah.
I know you're not massively versed in Big Finish. What do you think to that?
The main range. I've got Spotify when there's some on there as well. Like
as the first 50, yeah. But obviously, that's only the first 50. Granted, we're almost 270.
Yeah, exactly. But then again, there's always me for searching on Big Finish and buying as much as I can. But like I said, it's sort of like a, taking of what you know from what you want a Big Finish. It's what is like recommended to you. I think if you get rid of like sort of the basis of what you started off with, it's like getting rid of like saying, I don't know, it's like disregarding like the first few episodes of Doctor Who, but carrying on with all of the others. Like that's what they did back in back in the 90s.
That's because it was a big point, but now
bigger, because they had to chuck all the other episodes that were occasionally missing. We're going to get onto that, I think. But even still, I think to the point when they were chucking stuff out, they were thinking, right, we don't need to keep these because no one's going to watch these. So let's just chuck them and let's just create new stuff. That's what I think is clearly what we're trying to do. If my personal opinion, I don't mind audiobooks, but there's one thing about audiobooks that's different from Big Finish. Big Finish has the voices of the cast. Audiobooks are more about just some person reading it for you and for you just to listen to it. It doesn't actually have the actual voices of somebody, like saying, for instance, the dogs are in it. There'll be some person trying to recreate the voice.
It's not, for me, it's not audiobooks. That's not the problem. I love audiobooks can be great. Audiobooks have a really great story. I like a lot. I love the short trip range, but my issue is they're getting rid of the main story which is very popular stories. It had a massive story arc with Hex. Obviously, I know not a lot of people heard it all here.
Just listening to that story arc, I love it.
Literally so much story, and it's got this wonderful cast. It's got a wonderful actor. It's got some fantastic things, and they're just making more box set based things, and it feels less big, and it's much cheaper to presume. I get it's a company, and I'm still gonna be buying Big Finish Sport. Before we have the subject to Big Finish, CDs are not at the moment. So there's a few things. You're a Jacob and Lightfoot person, Adam. You love Jacob and Lightfoot's audio.
I love Jacob and Lightfoot.
They're doing Series 14, but just to download as an audio book, which again is just similar. And the rest are CDs. I'm a collector of CDs, but a lot of these ranges I'm after aren't going to be in CDs. How do we feel about Big Finish gently pushing CDs to the side, but doing them with special releases?
I feel like with Jago and Lightfoot, it kind of makes sense because we lost it. The guy who played Trevor Baxter, who played Lightfoot, and I know that Jonathan Price, he's going to be taking over John Hurt, and he died quite recently as well. And I know people have been complaining about it's too early to get a replacement for John Hurt though, and I feel like they've kind of done the right thing with Jago and Lightfoot, because I can't really see anyone doing getting an impersonation to do Lightfoot. So in a way, it kind of makes sense, and it still continues on with where Jago and Lightfoot is now, even if it's just audio, which I'm still happy for. I'm glad
it's not the audio
going on.
I think it's more collectors that want it because people have the first 14 seasons.
It would be good if it came out as a CD, which is just a bit of a disappointment that it's just going to be downloads.
But then again, they're trying to make different access points to customers, and I think the only way that they're going to do that is either by trying to reduce the sales of CDs and trying to make everything more downloadable. Because let's face it, more people are using phones and technology nowadays, and they think that if you can download everything onto your phone, like Big Finish, that's the way. I think Big Finish are trying to that's the way that they're trying to make more sales. And I think if you've got a bigger storage space for downloading all these stories, then fair dues. I've only got as much from what Aaron has got on his account, because I'm clearly using up his account to listen to Big Finish.
Everyone's using my account.
I haven't got paid for them yet, so
I've practically got 4 months of Big Finish pre-orders.
Exactly.
I've got 4 months just waiting to come in everything
I'm listening to on that.
Yeah, I've probably got 4 months of sitting there waiting. I love Big Finish. I'm obsessed. It's such a little thing, the CD aspect is, because you're still getting the stories, and that's not the issue.
Yeah.
But if people that love buying it, that love having it as a physical media, that's what you feel like. Am I going to fit me on custom CDs?
But I have to say, from what I've just said earlier about they might be losing the people who want to buy it, but I think now that Eccleston's now doing Big Finish, I think that's going to grab a lot of people's attention. And I've pre-ordered.
I will. Same with Tennant. When Tennant started Big Finish, that was massive. And now he's doing Dalek Universe. He's doing crossovers with 5th, 6th, and 4th Doctor, and he's doing obviously his own sets. And Martha's rumored, and then Tennant is doing a massive amount.
He really is.
Tennant is clearly, he loves being a Doctor, and I love he still has that connection to the fans.
I know for the fact that I've been listening to a lot of Eccleston and Tennant, but I think from what I can gather, Big Finish has to continue no matter what, and I think it will make sacrifices to try and keep its audience, its customers, more entertained to listen to more Big Finish, because let's face it, if Big Finish went out of business and they couldn't think of anything more, I think the fandom would be more or less, disappointed. And I think a lot of people will be signing up to pensions saying, please open up Big Finish again. We need more stories, because I don't think you can never run out of Big Finish stories. I think their imagination, creative teams, you can't process. So I think for that moment on, you've also got, like, if Jodie is even sent to leave, get her to do some Big Finish. I know, get Capaldi to do some Big Finish.
Matt Smith hasn't done Big Finish.
He actually does some Big Finish to me.
Yeah.
They got Jacob Gorham to do with the 11th Doctor Adventures.
To me. And yeah, I'm a massive Capaldi fanatic.
Yeah.
I actually found out about something a few days ago. I actually found out that Matt Smith and Karen Gillan did actually date, and Stephen Moffat told him not to, because it would just turn into an argument like with Tom and Lala. But yeah, I really hope Matt Smith will do Big Finish at some point.
No wonder they kissed so long in the episode.
That's your doing, Moffat.
But yeah, I think obviously Matt Smith hasn't done Big Finish, and even obviously Capaldi hasn't considered doing it yet. I hope they do one day. Obviously, Jake Dunn is a fantastic impersonator. I love his work. Obviously, he's done a lot of short trips. He's done, obviously, Doctor Assemble, things like that. And he's even done with Companion Chronicle, the Doctor Chronicles sets for New Doctors.
I love him.
But
I just all round. I just wouldn't like for the fact that they'll do one Big Finish where it'll be Jacob and Matt Smith in the same room, but it'll be a different Matt Smith versus the Doctor, and it'll be like an imposter of each other. Thinking, who's the real Matt Smith here? Who's sounding the real voice? And they may be as identical. You'd be thinking, who's the real one? I can't even tell because they sound the exact same.
All right. So obviously, bringing on the last portion of today's chat, obviously before we head off, obviously, thank you to everyone, by the way. Now, obviously, we've had obviously Who Books put this a few times now, so we want to obviously address it. You said, do you think the next Doctor will be a man again because the Master is a man again? I personally don't think so. I think they're going to stick obviously female line. That doesn't bother me. There's a few female actors that do see the role. Do you think it'll be a man again or not?
I'm not sure.
I think it's a controversial decision, because I think immediately when we went to the female choice, it blew up the internet. Like, half the internet died because of they realized, oh, we're going to get a female, or we're going to get a female Doctor here, and no one's happy about that. And it's immediately for the weirdest thing is that's the moment when the internet blew over by sexism and all this loss. And I think from the get-go, many people have been hoping for the fact, oh, I wish we had this other person being the Doctor. And I see people being, saying for the fact that they've got all of this other, all of these other recommendations on, who should be the Doctor. And I get it's all for the fact of creating the rumors and specularity and all that. But with everyone's agreements with this year's sort of series, or for like last year's series, do we think, though, a man can get the sort of fan base back to liking Doctor Who? Because let's face it, a lot of people have dropped off because of Jodie's error. And it's not to the fact that we hate Jodie, but I think something about Doctor Who from the last 2 years have just felt different in a way that I think it's either Chibnall's influence on everything to make it more style over substance. And I think when we had Capaldi, Smith, and Tennant and Eccleston, I think it was more substance than it was style, because I think it wasn't about how things are going to look visually. Of course, some of the stuff in Capaldi's and Smith's era of Doctor Who looks sensational, but more to the fact that they had more substance, they had more actual. There was a sense of like a Doctor Who style, like a home feel about Doctor Who. Like, we loved them because even when I watch sort of like Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, for instance, I know that's hated a lot, but I just see, fun and enjoyment. When it comes to Jodie's stories, sometimes she's on the edge. And it's not like she has to be on the edge. She can never feel like she feels like a very happy and very comfortable Doctor. Most of the time when I see Jodie as the Doctor, she's very on tense, like she has to be alert all the time. And I think it's either that most people don't like about. I mean, we all know that Jodie can be silly at times, but there's something about Jodie can never be comfortable. as like the Doctor as she is, because she's always like questioning herself. She's either questioning over her personality to her companions, or to the fact that she's talking way too much gibberish and talking way too much shit, like I do for most of the time. Most of my time, I talk way too much shit, more than I do with Jodie Whittaker. So let's face it, I should be the next person to do Doctor Who. I mean, it's the next person that's down the line. If you need more people to talk about Doctor Who, sign me up. I mean, if there's even a recommendation, I'll do it.
Alex, if you were never the Doctor, I don't think you're able to fit into the. I think you will bang your head in the TARDIS because you're that tall.
I see. I've been once into the TARDIS. I'll be like, this is not big enough for me yet.
I missed out going to that with Doctor Who experience. So obviously, before we head off this one, and anybody have any questions you want to ask any of us? Because obviously, I've really enjoyed doing this, and I really think, obviously, if Adam wants to do it, as if we want to get anyone else to do it, that we can do this on possibly twice a month, or possibly. I think
Aaron, you've got something to say about the website we were doing.
Yeah, so obviously last week before we do head off today, obviously myself will be Adam and Rob. We are making a Doctor Who website now. It's coming in development, so obviously we're going to be talking about some of the cast of Doctors, Big Finish, new series. We're going to be having a blog about my partner. Obviously, she's going to be writing her own blog, talking about her experience getting in the cast of Doctor Who. As I mentioned, we're watching one story every now and again. She's seen tons, so she's got a whole lot to say about what she personally thinks about each Doctor story. Obviously, we're going to be talking about some Big Finish we're listening to. We're going to be updating it, and we're just going to be really making a really, really awesome website just to love the Doctor.
Are you going to allow other people to make their own blogs to publish onto your website, for instance? Because let's face it, I think a lot of people have got a lot of ideas, like especially when in lockdown, a lot of time to think about and trying to make up a blog to post to your website. I mean, that could be
so.
Different.
I'm going to be honest.
Since you've got like how to get into classic Who, or even to the choices, how do you pick out one of your favorite stories if you're not in the mood? Like I suffer with that every single time when I'm trying to watch something. I'm like, I want to watch some Task Force. Oh no! I want to watch.
It's too long.
No. I want
my problem is when you want to watch
the War Games is too long. That's a 10-parter.
Well, my problem is I want to watch long stories late at night. That's my problem. So we were going to watch The Cold Earth and the Cylon part from Series 5. We thought, well, we might as well watch Doctor Who Cylons, and it's the better version of the story. Exactly. And it is. I'm saying it is a better story, but it's 7 parts long. So it was like 2 parts and 3 parts for last day. Literally. Obviously, to answer your question, yeah, I mean, obviously, we're still getting everything sorted, but we're going to be on blogs there. We're still going to be on discussions, updates all the time, and basically, we want to make it welcome for new fans, so casual fans can still understand what's happening, but hardcore fans that know the expanded universe can say, "Yeah, I get it. That's good."
Exactly. I think even so, like maybe next time when we do one of these streams, we can do, I don't know, a tier list. You know how tier lists are so popular now these days. There's just
tier lists
you can do really.
Yeah, I've done a couple of tier lists.
Actually, share it, and we can all do one at the same time or something.
Everybody's seen when you do a tier list. I've had people tell me I'm wrong in tier lists. Literally, people's reactions to tier lists. Like I'm putting like Jodie low sometimes. Sorry about this, guys, and Tennant a bit lower, and then putting McCoy and Colin Baker so much high, like number 1 or 2. I'm like, what are you doing? Tennant's number 1. How dare you?
I would defend Colin Baker to my last.
Yes, Colin Baker needs to be defended.
Yeah, I think so.
He's amazing in Big Finish.
But like, I'm doing tier lists are very subjective. I enjoy doing them. It's just, lists and I enjoy it. But
I am going to do a few videos of them, like probably companions, because if I do a Doctor one, everyone's going to probably hate my ranking. So I'm going to probably do.
The Doctor one is a tough one because not just for the fact that we've all got a little soft spot for every Doctor, and I think everyone may have their little soft spots, but I really think by my standards of Doctor Who fans, I respect every Doctor, and I give every doctor a chance to, I don't know, shine, for instance. And I won't rate any doctor in the bin because no one's been a bin yet, apart from Joe Marsden, who hasn't really made an actual bloody appearance, but she's counted as one of the doctors. Don't know why, but she is. So I guess just for the fact is that everyone has their opinion on their favorite doctors, and I think you feel like, oh, I'm too harsh to rate this doctor in the bin, aren't I? Like I sometimes like, oh, they'll be the best, they'll be lovely, 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 or they'll be all right. I never think.
I think with these lists, it's like I put Eccleston low. He started it, but everyone's different. I think even Simona Partner, she's not massive on Eccleston, and not everyone is massive on his doctor, which blasphemy for me. But
was going to do a well, we weren't going to say anything bad about them. We was going to be positive for each doctor, though. What was all going to ask like what we think of each doctor, but we're saying positive things about them. This is not like a tier list or anything. So do you want to start that now?
Yeah, sure.
Alex, what do you think?
What? It's almost almost 10 o'clock here. No, now ahead.
Oh,
unfortunately, I've got to head off. Unfortunately,
well, let's just finish off with one question. Do we think the Weeping Angels or the like? What do we think of the Sun Tyrants and the Weeping Angels coming back? As like the recent monsters have just been announced to appear in the next series. What do we think that story-wise it's going to be? Do we think that
controversial opinion here?
I'm more excited for the Sun Tyrants being back because. Don't get me wrong, I like Strax. I do like the Paranofta gang, but I just can't take the Sontaran seriously now because of Strax.
Of all time, he's better than every other doctor. He will make chips. He'll go to Burger King and he'll be the Burger King of the Sontaran Empire.
So here's a really controversial opinion.
You dare say Strax is horrible?
Every
best character.
Every return, Chibnall's doing
I
this.
never said he was awful.
Oh, Strax is funny. I like, but. Controversial opinion, every return of a classic villain Chibnall has done has been for fan service and not put in the story for the story purposes. I'm not saying fan service is wrong. I like my fan service. Give me a bit of fan service. I'm not going to say no to it, but I also like a story to go with fan service.
I was hoping for an Omega returning and it takes you away because they deal with antimatter, not Kermit the Frog.
I was hoping for the Sea Devils in Praxis. The Sea Devils.
So yeah,
I had a mesh about polluting the Sea Devils, Sardorians. It's so much you could have done. I'm excited.
We just got global warming monsters, and apparently Donald Trump is now the default for doing global warming. Apparently, that's canon supposedly. Thanks, Orphan 55. Like clearly, we need something more about global warming.
So obviously, guys, before we end, should do this again? Obviously. Twice a month or 3 times a month, possibly something like that.
I'd think so. I mean, I'll
probably be doing more live streams myself, though. But it will be great to, just
I'd have to join in. Yeah,
my stuff. My birthday's coming up in the next 8 days, so that might be one for me.
Awesome! Happy birthday!
Well, yeah, 21. I'm not doing much, but I guess.
Mate, I realise I'm doing 24 this year. And it's like
I was 25 2 weeks ago.
Sad. It's like you're almost half.
21. I'll be 51 tomorrow.
I'm halfway to be 30 soon, and that scares me. Halfway to be 20.
And now I'm
30s.
150. That's
but yes, apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Obviously, everybody, it's been amazing. So we don't have time to do viewer part, but obviously we're going to get through it next time.
Don't forget to subscribe to for more things Doctor Who, Alex Goddard, and myself, Adam Time.
Like I said, mate, I'm glad you guys have got the hang of this live stream. So the same applies whenever you want to go live. Use this system; it works brilliantly. Yeah.
Before we go, I really want to make more content. Obviously, I'm struggling a bit, because I don't have the same things I used to have when I was in the UK. But as soon as I can make stuff, it's going to happen.
If live streams are the only thing you can do, everyone is happy with live streams. There is no problem in not doing.
I remember when I used to make skits.
Live streams are brilliant, and I think everyone can say that. Whether you're going to do a channel full of live streams, then people are going to love it. Promise you. Subscribe to his channel now. Live streams all around for his channel.
Awesome.
Bye, Who's Box. Stay safe too.
See you later, guys. Have a good one. Thank you for watching.
My pleasure, Aaron. Take care, you two. Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye.